Hey guys, this is my second time recording this video. This is the infamous Loco did mic check before he started recording a video, so he recorded a 15-minute video without audio. Great job, Loco. Anyways, for you today, we have the new LCS format, and we're going to break it down, why I think it's good, and for those of you guys that don't know what it is, just explaining to you guys what it exactly is. So, without further ado, let's get started with the video. First up, let's actually talk about the new LCS format in itself. It's going to be 3 days of LCS now, on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I know, right? League of Legends on Monday. It's actually just straight up called Monday Night League, and it's going to feature 2 marquee matchups. For those of you that have traditional sports background, it's going to sound very familiar to a concept you probably already know as Monday Night Football. And it definitely does have roots in traditional sports. And I'll tell you why League is kind of taking this direction. So the executive producer of NALCS, his name is David Stewart, and he has background in Fox Sports. So it is that traditional sports mindset carrying over. Basically what Monday Night Football is football on Mondays. I mean, how to explain it? It's exactly what League will be too. But it's going to feature the best matchups of the week, so we'll see how it pans out. To be honest, I'm not in love with it as much. 3 days of LCS is really grueling for teams, and it also makes scheduling scrims such a hassle. Oh my god, I remember when we used to have LCS back on Friday, Saturday, Sundays, and whenever we had a Friday game, it just threw everything off. And sometimes you'll have this weird situation where you have a game on Friday, and you don't have a game on Saturday, and then you have a game on Sunday. Same thing can happen in this format where you have a game on Saturday and then you have a game on Monday but no games on Sunday, so there's this like odd break day. Hopefully that doesn't happen to any of the teams, and all the key matchups are on like Sunday, Monday, or Friday, Saturday, and yeah, no team has to play the split, but I'm sure some team is going to have to play the split because just due to how Monday Night League is going to be the 2 best matchups of the week. As the season progresses and we get closer to playoffs, some of the scheduling is going to be flexible and they are going to reschedule to have those important matches on Monday, so there will be teams playing on Saturdays and Mondays. So yeah, we'll see how this plays. For the Saturday, Sundays, it's pretty normal. It's 4 games a day instead of 5 because the 2 games are moved to Mondays. But other than that, LCS, yeah, staying the same. 4 games on Saturday, 4 games on Sunday, and 2 games on Monday. Now, let's move on to Academy. Things are actually getting pretty wild for Academy. You can expect a lot of changes to be upcoming. In the past, Riot has been very experimental with Academy, especially in the last 2 years. They allowed teams to run their own broadcasts, so it was ran with varying amounts of success, and every single team did something different. Some teams actually ran fully produced broadcasts with casters and everything. Some teams ran a very casual broadcast with like team members, coaches, LCS players, or just like random ass staff coming over to cast over it. Some teams just gave it to a streamer and they just had that streamer cast over it. So for example, TSM just gave their Academy broadcast to Dyrus and he casted over it. Yeah, so that was actually a thing. If you wanted to watch TSM Academy, you watched it on Dyrus' stream. And some teams just straight play the VOD, no casters, no editing, no nothing, just the VOD of the game itself, and that was it. And while I want to praise the teams that actually really took effort and put on a great show for the fans, I also understand from the teams that just didn't put in as much effort because there was not a lot of eyes on Academy and it just was not important, and it wasn't a great place to build your brand in terms of the amount of time and money you would have to invest and the return you get out of it. So yeah, lazy teams, fuck you, but I also understand your situation, and League is business. So before talking about the Academy changes, let's simplify it. It's going to be 5 games remote on Friday, 1 game on stage on Saturday after LCS, and 1 game on stage on Sunday after LCS also, and 3 games on stage Monday before LCS. So on Friday, the first 4 games are played at the same time, and the casters will be hopping through each game, trying to cover the biggest plays, like the end game situations, like the first bloods, the team fight. Basically, they want to give you the most exciting moments of those first 4 games, like happening at the same time. They're calling it Academy Rush, and it's another concept borrowed from traditional sport. This one takes after NFL Red Zone. NFL Red Zone is a broadcast where they show every touchdown from every game. It's basically a live highlight broadcast, which is what Academy Rush is trying to be. And I like the trial concept. I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about following each like highlight moment of the game. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna make Academy more watchable in terms of I don't really care that much about Academy, so at least the Academy rush will draw me in somewhat. But yeah, I'm still iffy on the concept. We'll see how it plays out and then have strong feelings on it. Also, speaking of Academy broadcast in general, it was pretty lackluster last year and no one really cared about Academy. The fans didn't, the teams didn't, and a lot of the times the players didn't also. Most of the players felt like they were too good for Academy. It was just not a great place to be. With all these changes though, Riot is addressing one huge problem in Academy, which is people don't think Academy matters that much because it was online and Academy players were not getting onstage experience. And this allows Academy players to get so much onstage experience. Other than the 5 games that are going to be played remote on Friday, every single other game is going to be played remote. So 50% of the Academy games are going to be on stage, and it's going to make playing in Academy a lot more similar to playing in LCS, which is a great step forward. So why Riot didn't do this before and why Academy is playing remote actually has to do a lot with money. One big hurdle that Riot has to think about when they want to put on an Academy broadcast, especially when it was on like Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays without LCS also running on that day, is it costs a lot to run the studio for one day. There's so many people there's staff working like the food, there's staff working like just the building, there's staff working with the equipment, and also the equipment and the electricity costs. It just takes so much money. I'd guess somewhere around $50,000 to $100,000 a day to run the LCS studio, and they solve the Academy needs on stage time, but Academy is not that popular and it's very expensive to run the studio problem by just sticking it onto the LCS broadcast. That's why all the days Academy will be on stage is on the same day that LCS will be on stage. So Saturday after LCS, Sunday after LCS, Monday before LCS. You see how it's all with LCS? It's very much done on purpose to keep the cost down for Academy in terms of it being allowed to play on stage. Yeah, so interesting changes overall. Let's hope for the best because we need our Academy to be good. We need our Academy to be worthwhile. And there's actually another huge reason why it's going to be very important Academy players get on-stage experience, which I will talk about in the next upcoming change, which is the playoff. This is where things get really, really interesting. Riot hasn't made these kind of big changes in forever, so I'm very, very excited to see how these changes will play out, and I think almost all the changes are positive. So let's talk about spring playoffs, which is going to be completely different from summer playoffs now. So in spring, the top 6 teams move on to playoffs like normal, but a lot of things change. So to keep it simple, it's basically a double elimination system with a little bit of nuance. So let's say, for example, the top 6 placements in spring was TL number 1 seed, C9 number 2 seed, TSM number 3 seed, CLG number 4 seed, 100 Thieves number 5 seed, and 6 seed Evil Genius. So because Team Liquid is seed 1, they get to pick between seed 3 and seed 4, and let's say they choose CLG because Team Liquid normally does not like playing versus TSM. So now automatically seed 2 C9 is matched with seed 3 in TSM. Now TL and CLG play each other, TL wins, C9 and TSM play each other, and C9 wins, and both of them move on to the next round. Now TSM, who was the A2 loser, they have to face the 6th seed in Evil Genius, and CLG, who was the A1 loser, has to face the 5th seed in 100 Thieves. TSM beats EG, CLG beats 100 Thieves, and now TSM and CLG both play each other, and TSM ends up coming out ahead, and yeah, TSM is in the lower bracket, and all the other teams that lost already, CLG, EG, and 100 Thieves, they're all out. So yeah, it's basically a double elimination bracket for those of you guys following along and know the other systems. Now, TL and C9 play each other in the upper bracket, and TL beats C9, so TL goes on to the finals, and now C9 has to come down to the losers bracket and face TSM. Now, TSM is able to beat C9 in the losers bracket, and TSM goes to the finals, and the finals is TL versus TSM. So it's a really well-needed change. I love double bracket. I think it makes for better stories. I think it makes sure the best 2 teams are always in the finals, so props to Riot for that. Just no gripes about this system. This system should have been done way long ago, and I'm finally glad to have it. One thing that's also really, really interesting about this double bracket, which is being more normalized, is normally in a double bracket system, you get a benefit by being the winner all the way through. So in our previous example, TL didn't lose a single best of 5 and they went all the way to finals, right? So in other games, sometimes they'll do like a mock best of 5 where you get 1 game bonus. So TL would only have to win 2 games to win the series, where TSM would have to win 3. So sometimes that's the benefit given. I'm sure Riot's going to give TL the side choice and they'll be the higher seed by being in the winner's bracket, but I don't think they're going to give them an additional game or anything like that, which I think is completely fine. You also got to play less best of 5 in this double bracket system to go all the way to finals, so I don't mind it too much. Another really interesting change that's happening in spring is there's going to be no championship points tied to spring at all. So the only thing you're really getting out of winning spring is an invite to MSI and bragging rights. Spring not mattering in championship points is a little bit weird. I do think it's a needed change because in summer, whoever wins and whoever's doing well in summer is going to better represent the region at Worlds, and also spring not mattering. Ooh. Let's talk about some things that have happened. In 2018, 100 Thieves ended up going to Worlds due to them placing second in spring and earning a lot of points, and the other high point earner, Team Liquid, who won both spring and summer, just took all the points with them and got to go as first seed. So yeah, 100 Thieves ended up being second seed. And this outraged so many fans. And I understand. But there's also a weird aspect of if we don't make spring matter, then why do we have spring in the first place? It's gonna make spring a lot more experimental for the teams. It gives teams a lot more opportunity to kind of flunk spring and still be fine and make the necessary changes and go into the summer, and they don't have to worry so much about the championship points. And remember the academy thing I talked about, academy players getting more on-stage time so they can be LCS ready a lot easier, and academy can be better. This is going to allow teams to work in their academy player to their main roster a lot easier, which is great. So yeah, it might sound weird at first that spring doesn't mean anything, but I think there's a lot of positives that can take away from it. And also, I would love to see Riot just do something else with spring altogether, like get rid of it completely, just have individual tournaments. You guys remember the MLG, IEMs, like all these tournament days? I would love it. I love the individual tournaments mattering and like teams spiking at the right times and winning. And I think that would be great for spring, like just like an open circuit. And we have this summer playoff, we have these like summer league, and spring is just open to more than maybe even LCS teams. That would make it so interesting. But yeah, enough about the rant. Spring doesn't matter in terms of points, but summer will decide pretty much everything. So I'm not going to talk about summer playoff format in detail because it's going to make this video way longer than it needs to be. And we'll definitely talk about it as summer approaches and maybe as spring ends, but we'll talk about it in another video. So to keep it short, and just so you guys know, summer in 2020 will also be a double elimination, but it's with 8 teams, and the top 3 teams from that playoff will end up going to Worlds, and there's no gauntlet anymore, which is great. I think gauntlet overall is like such a weird experience for so many of the teams. Gauntlet leaves a lot of these teams in a limbo because there's only like 2 real teams, sometimes maybe 3, that are good enough to win the gauntlet, and there's so many other teams participating in the gauntlet, and you can't just like not be there. Like it'd be so crazy if a team is like, yeah, we give up on our chance to be in gauntlet, when in reality you only have something like 5% or like 3% chance of actually running through the gauntlet if you're seed 4 or 5 and you just weren't that great in summer. So yeah, no more gauntlet. Great. It was such a weird, like anticlimactic one more tournament after summer playoffs, so glad to see it gone. Now, it seems that Riot is willing to make these changes regarding format, and I'm hoping and I'm praying it means we're going to get something different for Worlds, because yeah, our Worlds format right now isn't the greatest. I would love a double elim, and I would love a better seeded groups, so hopefully we get that in the future. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I very much enjoyed talking about the new playoff format. Let me know if you guys don't understand a certain part. Let me know if you guys disagree with my opinions. I will definitely comment back at you. And remember, I'm not crazy, I'm just Loco. Later, guys.